All right. Good morning, Mr. Kennedy.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number, please.
My name is Lonnie Kennedy, 110432.
All right, that's what I got. Good. Let me acknowledge you have with you there at Angola, you have your niece Amy Jinks and your nephew Kevin Posey. And also, Amy and Kevin will be speaking on your behalf. Also, there is Christy Hosea.
Yes,
On Zoom is Joanna Hosea, and we also have Mr. Myers with the Parole Project. We also have here today on Zoom representing the victim, Terry Pantanople and Rachel Pantanople, both of whom will be speaking at the appropriate time. First, Mr. Kennedy, I'm going to read some identifiers into the record. Let me get to the right page. I apologize. So you're here today. You are seeking a commutation of your sentence. You were sentenced in East Baton Rouge Parish, May of 1985, to a life sentence for a second-degree murder conviction. Is that information correct?
yes, ma'am.
All right. So before we start our interview process, Mr. Kennedy, we'd like for you to tell us how'd you end up in jail? You know, what'd you do? And you submitted an application to commute your sentence. Why do you think you deserve that?
Yes, ma'am. Well, on the night of October the 29th in 1982, I took a beautiful young girl's life, Marty Jo Pantanople. I was at home in my bed, and when I heard someone knocking on the door and I didn't know who it was, I grabbed the gun and went to see. And it was her and her boyfriend backed up to the apartment with a pickup truck, wanted all the furniture. And we had an argument. The argument lasted almost 30 minutes. It was over whether or not she would return home, or when I could see my son, or all the stuff that was in the apartment. And we argued over 30 minutes. And I wound up, and I shot her. I took her life.
Okay. So why do you think you deserve to have your sentence commuted?
Well, over these last 40 years, I've become a changed person. When my father died, I realized I felt pain. I needed a change in my life. So I got a GED in 1997 after my father died. And then I tried to get in other classes, which was hard at that time. And I wound up in the last 3 or 4 years, I achieved all these 100 hours, substance abuse, anger management. And right now I'm currently enrolled in victim awareness. I realized I had more victims than just Marty Jo and her family. All those people that were standing up there watching me do what I did, they were victims.
All right. Well, let's like to ask the warden, is there anything you can share about Mr. Kennedy?
He has served 42 years of his sentence. It's for second-degree murder, as you stated. He's housed at our Camp F area, our trustee area in Dorm 4. He works on line 37. He's had a total of 20 DB reports, with the last one being in 2004 for a Rule 11. As stated, he's completed anger management, 100 hours, substance abuse, his GED class as well, and he's currently in victim awareness
Yes, ma'am.
program.
I'm almost finished with it. We had the letter of accountability.
Good. So we're going to hear from the folks who want to speak on your behalf. First, we'll hear from the Parole Project. Mr. Myers.
Good morning. Kerry Myers with Louisiana Parole Project. We're here to support Mr. Kennedy in his request. Obviously, the Pardon Board's function is to consider cases. It's a board of last resort, in essence, because they have the person before you has no other options. And the board is, while everyone has committed a serious crime to be in front of you, the person who committed this crime 20 or 30, and in this case, 42 years ago, is to be evaluated for who they are during their incarceration and who they are now. Mr. Kennedy hasn't had a write-up in 21 years. He's worked the same job in the same position for more than 2 decades. He's been a trustee for a significant amount of time. He's still involved in programming. While he takes full responsibility for the actions he committed and the crime he committed, this board is a board of last resort, and to look at the 70-year-old Mr. Kennedy today as opposed to the 28-year-old he was when he went to prison and committed this crime, just ask this board to consider all those factors and commute his sentence to whatever this board would see fit.
Thank you. Could we hear from the folks there at Angola? First, could we hear from Amy?
Go ahead, you can speak from sitting right there.
I'm really not sure what to say, but we've been coming here ever since he's been here, and you can see over time that he's always been a little different, a little better. And if he does get out, he'll have a place to stay with one of us, and we'll help him adjust back to society if he gets out. But that's all I've got.
Okay, Mr. Hosey?
Yeah, good morning. So like Amy said, me and her both have been coming to see Uncle Lonnie for the last 40 years, I'm assuming, ever since we've been in our teenagers. So we've seen him, we've known him as we were children, and we've known him as an adult now in here. We've watched him grow, I guess. We've talked to different extents about what had happened and what his remorse is about it. And he's definitely a different man than what he was. That being said, he has lots of family support, including who you see here. That's my mother, Joanne, on the Zoom. So he definitely has a lot of family support here, and we're more than willing to help him adjust in any way possible. But as far as where he was from when he was 28 years old to 70, there's not the same man at all. And that's coming from somebody that literally talks to him every month, maybe twice a month. So thank y'all for letting me speak.
Thanks for being there. And yes, I do want to acknowledge Miss Joanna, who wanted to speak today, but because of some recent medical procedures is unable to do so, but wanted to be sure you knew, Lonnie, that she is present and here in favor. We'd like to hear from the opposition now. Could we hear from Rachel Noble? John? All right, I think we're having trouble connecting with her. Is Terry Pantanople on? You're still on mute, maybe?
Can you hear me now?
I can, thank you.
Thank you. I am Justin Pantanople's wife. He is not with us today. We have been notified of this parole and pardon. And on his behalf, I'm just going to read a letter that we wrote 2 years ago. I don't know if you have it in front of you, that we submitted to this board. And it was his words. And he just wrote, life without parole meant that the man known as Lonnie Kennedy that shot my daughter on October 29th, 1982, would spend his entire life until his death in prison. I can say at 81 years old, I still have that memory. I have the memory of sitting in the hospital next to her bed, her head wrapped and swelling hour by hour until her death. Not a word was spoken, not a movement from her body, as I prayed for some sign of life, some sign that she knew I was there. Mr. Joe Dyer called to ask how I feel about the request which I understand is for the governor to reduce the terms of Lonnie's conviction sentence, either by decreasing prison time or absolving him of this crime. I have no words for this absurd request. The Louisiana Division of Probation and Parole can conduct their investigation into this offense and make their decision. But let it be known, I am no part and will ever be part of supporting.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am, and we do have that in our record, part of the permanent record. Thank you for sharing that with us. Did we get Ms. Rachel Pantinople?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead. What would you like us to know?
I would just like to repeat everything that Terry had originally said. At his original sentence was life in prison without the chance of parole, probation, anything. We were robbed of my sister, of her daughter, of my dad's daughter, for life. 40, however many years it's been, 43 years has not brought my sister back. So I don't see why after 43 years, he's going to get his life back. So just the way I feel.
Thank you. And we appreciate you sharing that with us. Thank you. Mr. Kennedy, your case has been assigned to Mr. Tillis. Would you answer any questions he has?
How you doing, Mr. Kennedy? I went through your record and read through it several times, and I see you've made a lot of changes. You've done well while you were there.
Yes, sir.
When this happened, were you on drugs, using drugs, or?
Yes, sir, I was. I was an alcoholic. I drank and did drugs almost every day. But since here, I haven't touched drugs in the last 30 years.
Okay. At the time of the incident, you were on drugs then?
Yes, sir.
How long had you and your friend been apart?
About 3 years. Oh, no, apart?
No, yeah, you and your girlfriend, how long had y'all been separated?
Only a couple of weeks or so. At one time when we were separated before, I had kidnapped my son. I wanted to be a father. I wanted to raise my son, but I never got the chance because I took her life.
I see. And you took a lot of classes while you've been there?
Yes, sir. I've tried to get in every class I could get in, but like I say, 10 or 15 years ago, it was hard to get in classes. But now it's more, they're more available to you.
Do you see your son now?
Well, I haven't seen him. He used to come up here to visit when he was living with my brother. My brother and my sister-in-law sent him through high school, and he was coming up here on a regular basis. But since he got married and he moved to Lafayette, and the way things are expensive, he can't come that regular.
I see. Okay, I have no more questions.
Any other questions? I do note, Mr. Kennedy, in the record, we did hear from your son, Marty.
Yes, ma'am, I didn't know.
And we did, and he's not opposed to your favorable consideration. You just need to be aware of that.
Thank you,
All right.
ma'am.
I don't see any other questions, so I'll ask for the vote. Mr. Tillis?
First time I read the case, I had made a decision, and I see the remorsefulness in you, and I see the hurt in the victims, and it's a difficult choice that I need to make now.
Yes, sir.
My vote is going to be to grant with commutation of sentence.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Brayden?
Mr. Kennedy, this is a tough one because I'm so much against domestic violence, like everybody on this board, and it just kills me to think about, and I hate to use that word, kills me, because that's exactly what we're dealing with right here.
Yes, sir, you're right.
Oh, and when you get life in prison, the victims' families think, okay, we won't have to deal with that. But then, sure enough, they have to come up and have to deal with it. They have to keep coming and testifying things. So, how many years have you served?
43, almost 43.
Okay. And you understand if you get a unanimous vote here, that this just a recommendation that goes to the governor,
Yes, sir, the governor.
opportunity for him to commute your sentence down to 99 years.
Yes,
And
sir.
then you still got to go through the parole process.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I'm gonna concur with Mr. Tillis and vote to grant this, not grant it, but to recommend that you be eligible for parole at 99 years, commute your sentence to 99. I'm having trouble saying it right. Maybe you clean it up.
Mr. Freeman.
Okay, Mr. Kennedy, it is tough because there's a life that was lost and you have the victims. Then you also have your son who's sitting there and he's unopposed. You served 43 years and now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
A long time. You got a great prison record. And it's the only charge on your rap sheet. I mean, you know, it's a very, very serious charge. It's the only charge you have. You're taking good classes. I don't think you're a risk to public safety. Today, my vote is going to be to grant and commute your sentence to 99 years.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
The recommendation.
And Mr. Kennedy, I do agree. My heart goes out to the Pantanople family.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
my vote today is really based on the information I have that's from your son, Marty. My vote would be likewise to make the recommendation your sentence be commuted to 99 years. Good luck to
Thank
you,
you,
sir. Good luck to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good luck. All right. You did a good job, man.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, good afternoon. The Pardon Board is reconvening. We are now at David Wade Correctional Center. It is 11:59 in the morning on Monday, February 24th, 2025. Would the staff there at Wade please introduce yourself for the record?
Assistant Warden Ryan Kimball.
Kristen Harper, classification.
Lieutenant Colonel Savage.
That's
All right.
it.
All right, thank you. Thanks for accommodating us today. And we have Mr. Jennings there before us. Good morning, Mr. Jennings. Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your DOC number, please.
David Louis Jennings II, 608-885.
All right, Mr. Jennings, and I see that I hope that you can see that your brother Christopher has joined us, and we're going to call on him for his remarks at the appropriate time. First, I'm going to read some identifiers into the record. Mr. Jennings, you are classified as a first felony offender. You're currently serving a 30-year sentence. You were sentenced in Bossier Parish, May 7, 2013 for molestation of a juvenile. You do have a parole eligibility date, which is March 14, 2037. You do not earn good time, so your full-term date is March 13, 2042. Is that information correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Jennings, before we start our interview process, we want to hear from you first and then those that want to speak. So you tell us, why are you in jail? And you submitted an application for a commutation of your sentence. Why do you think you deserve that?
Well, I have went through several classes here, and they have actually taught me what I did wrong and showed me that my victim, the things I did to my victim was extremely painful and difficult for them. And I believe deep down that it would never happen again for me. I actually do have a statement that I have written for y'all.
Go ahead.
I would like to thank the board for the opportunity for clemency hearing. I know that I have committed a gruesome crime against a young girl named Parley. I have come to the understanding of how much I have harmed due to the classes that I have taken, such as victim awareness and sex offender treatment program. I've also learned that she's not the only victim of my crime. I also harmed her mother, her brother, her stepmother, and her fathers. I've also harmed my own family by taking their loved one and an important pillar of emotional and monetary support for them by choosing to commit this crime and being rightfully incarcerated for it. No apology can be made that can begin to make amends for my crime, and that I would suffer the guilt for the harm that I have caused for the rest of my life. My actions in the past have been often self-centered and harmful to others, but the classes I have taken and the interactions that I've had with others during my incarceration has prepared me for a future of making good choices and for the betterment of myself and everyone around me. The classes I have taken also have taught me patience, hard work, personal responsibility, self-empowerment. I know that upon my release, I will have an uphill battle, but I also know that I can and will overcome it with the help of my family and the tools from my classes given me. I will search out and utilize all support groups necessary for me to help maintain a crime-free life that I want to have. I plan to go to Bipsy to become a chef and to make a career as a professional cook. I have obtained a food safety certified manager certificate and completed the Bipsy Culinary Arts course offered at Wade, which will nearly open any door into restaurant employment. I feel that I have more to offer society now than I did prior to my incarceration. And with the many tools and self-control I've gained, I know beyond a doubt that I will never again act in the way that has the slightest chance of causing harm to another human being, especially a child. No man who has done what I have could honestly come before you and claim he deserves a second chance or that he has done enough to earn one. I come before you to express my sincere remorse and to beg for the opportunity to show that I'm not selfish, ignorant person that I was before, and that I can and will have a positive impact on the world for the rest of my life. Thank you for your time, for listening to me.
All right. Good. You put some thought into it. That's great. Warden Kimball, what can you tell us about Mr. Jennings?
Yes, ma'am. Inmate Jennings has been here since 2013. He has participated in a multitude of classes, Celebrate Recovery, Cage Your Rage, Sex Offender Treatment. He's a member of the JC's Club. He did just finish, he was one of the first to graduate from that culinary program that we just implemented. So he has done well. He's not been a problem for staff, but the record reflects and pretty much speaks for itself.
Great. Thank you, sir. We'd like to hear from Mr. Christopher Jennings, please.
Hi, how are y'all doing today?
Good. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm here to just speak and say that I do believe that he has remorse for what he's done. I do believe that if there was a way for him to, I don't know how to word this, and I do apologize, to not amend what he's done, but fix the issue that he has created for himself, that he would do that. I would be willing to help him with anything that he'd be able to, or he would need help with. I know I said in the letter when I had sent it in, the only thing I wouldn't be able to help him with is just a place to stay, but everything else I would have his back on.
All right, well, thank you for speaking with us this afternoon. Mr. Jennings, your case has been assigned to Mr. Tillis. Would you answer his questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jennings. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. A little nervous, but good.
Okay, don't be nervous. I read through your case and I was real pleased to hear what you said. And I see you've been trying to make some improvements. And I don't want to go back through what happened and all that, I guess. So you're trying to take things and doing things to better yourself.
Yes, sir.
Were they, one other question, were there any other victims?
Yes, sir. There was one other victim that they did an investigation on, and it was her word against mine. Nothing came of it.
Oh yeah, that's good enough. I read that. Okay, that's it. I don't have any more questions.
Any other questions? All right, I don't have any questions, Mr. Jennings. The record is very complete. I do believe, I guess we're ready to vote. I'll ask Mr. Tillis to vote first.
Today, my vote's going to be to deny because of the length of time you spent, and I think you need more timing and more classes. So my vote today is to deny.
Mr. Prater?
I concur. You hadn't even served half of your sentence, and you took a pretty nice little plea agreement to get that sentence. So, and violate the 4-year-old, I just can't see you getting out early. So, deny.
Mr. Freeman?
I concur.
And Mr. Kennedy, I do agree. You already have some relief in that you were afforded a plea agreement and you already have a parole eligibility date. That is still some ways off, but that would have been the only relief that I would have considered granting, and you already have that as part of your sentence. So my vote today also is to deny, in addition to the victim opposition that's been expressed to us. So today, sir, your application has been denied.
All right. Thank you, board.
Thank you. That concludes our business. We're going to sign off at 12:08.